Do you want to learn more about the classical philosophy of Stoicism that influenced modern-day ethical thought? Have you ever thought about the similarities between Christianity and Stoic perspectives on social justice and human dignity? Then you've come to the right place. As we have seen, the monotheisms of late antiquity were challenged by the Stoics, who offered a comprehensive and compassionate moral framework that is still applicable today. So why not start by reviewing the writings of Musonius Rufus and other early Stoic philosophers? If you're already familiar with Stoicism, think about how you may use its principles to promote social justice and human dignity in your own life. So today on StoicEstates, we will delve deeper into the rich history and practical applications of Stoic ethics. Whether you're a student of philosophy, a practitioner of Stoicism, or simply interested in ethical thought, there's always more to learn and discover. According to well-known historian Tom Holland, the 4th century conversion of the Roman Empire to Christianity brought in a new era of moral consciousness. This notion has been criticized, though, because religions other than Christianity also play a high value on people. Similar ideas were also maintained by the Stoics. For instance, but is it fair to say that the conversion of the Roman Empire to Christianity was the sole reason for the development of moral consciousness in the West? Did you know that Stoicism has influenced civil rights and abolishing slavery, among other social liberation movements? So it is possible that a heathen Rome may have adopted a sense of human rights as a result of Stoic philosophy. Hence, we should be reluctant to believe that Christianity alone is entirely responsible for the distinctive moral and historical traits of Western civilization. To completely understand Western philosophy, we must examine all of the factors that inspired it. Hence, if you're looking for a strategy to deal with the anxieties and uncertainties of modern life, think about studying ancient Stoic philosophy. Now let's explore, how did the Roman Stoics engage with the social world around them, and what could we learn from their example? So who was Kyle Harper, and what was his perspective on human rights and Stoicism? Others claim that Christians' views on good and wrong have changed significantly throughout time. Although not all people agreed with this development, it did have some positive aspects. Christians believed that everyone was important and deserved respect, according to historians like Kyle Harper and Peter Brown. Later, this concept inspired individuals to consider human rights and fight against slavery. In comparison to other religions at the time, Christians also cared more about helping the needy. But the real question is, did some non-Christians care about the underprivileged and those who weren't treated properly? Individuals who follow Christian morals frequently give the impression that all non-Christians are the same and bad. But non-Christians genuinely had varying perspectives on good and wrong, and some of them cared about the underprivileged and those who weren't treated properly. Several of them made an effort to use their intellect to come up with solutions that would benefit everyone. Some of these non-Christians even spoke up against issues in their community, according to Martha Nussbaum, who published a book called The Therapy of Desire. But was Stoicism more influential than early Christianity in the moral development of the West during the early Roman period? Religion is not the only factor in this significant development. Principles were also found in other ancient Roman religions like Stoicism. Although these other views were short-lived, they still demonstrate how at the time people's ethical convictions were evolving. So we should give Stoicism more credit than early Christianity for its significant influence on the moral development of the West during the early Roman period. In an article called Christianity and the Roots of Human Dignity in Late Antiquity, Kyle Harper argues that Stoicism alone could not have created the idea of human rights. This is because Stoicism believed that true human freedom did not come from being politically free, but from giving up one's desires. Harper says that although the Stoics believed in human freedom, they thought it was only possible for a wise person who could control their emotions and desires. Even slaves had to let go of their desire to be free to achieve inner peace, according to this view. But how can Stoicism help us be better people? Some people who followed Stoic philosophy, like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, believe that it's important to stay strong in hard times. Nowadays, some philosophers like Massimo Pigliucci think this is still a good idea because modern life can be really hard. But just focusing on this part of Stoic philosophy misses an important point: the idea of being a good person. The Stoics believed in certain good qualities like fairness, self-control, bravery, and wisdom. Some Stoic teachers, like Epictetus, thought that it was important to take action when bad things happen to you, but other Stoics thought that it was also important to think about how you can be fair and brave in your society. The person who wrote about Stoicism, Kyle Harper, focused too much on one Stoic teacher, Epictetus. Epictetus is not the only Stoic teacher and doesn't represent all of the Stoic ideas. There were many different Stoic ideas, like the idea of treating everyone fairly no matter where they come from, which is like a modern idea from Peter Singer. Another writer named Martha Nussbaum also talked about Stoicism, especially the early Greek Stoics and how they thought about politics. But there was another Roman Stoic named Musonius Rufus who also talked about how to make life better for everyone, and we should also think about his ideas. So how did Gaius Musonius Rufus contribute to Stoic ethics? And how did he advocate for social change through Stoic ethics? And what were his views on universal human dignity? Gaius Musonius Rufus was a teacher of Epictetus who lived during the 1st century AD. He gave many lectures and was very popular, but he often went against the ethical norms of his time, which caused him to be unpopular. He believed that women should be encouraged to study philosophy, which was a very unusual idea back then. Musonius Rufus showed us that the Stoics also believed in universal human dignity. According to Stoic virtue ethics, anyone, regardless of whether they were a slave or free, could practice ethical behavior. Unlike Harper's argument, virtues require more than just giving up desires in tough situations. Interestingly, Musonius Rufus's Stoicism requires its followers to practice the same kind of ethical kindness that Christianity's Paul is famous for. In Lecture 19, Musonius questions why people value fancy rooms and unnecessary things, instead of using their wealth to help others. He doesn't sound like he's giving up or resigned, and his lectures show that he has a strong sense of purpose to make a positive impact on society. He speaks out against the wealthy, encourages people to take civic responsibility, and argues for an ethics that applies to everyone based on being a member of the world community, similar to Hierocles' idea. So how can we use Stoic philosophy to help our society, according to Musonius Rufus? Musonius Rufus, a Stoic philosopher, said that good qualities like fairness, self-control, bravery, and wisdom can be used not just in your personal life, but also in your society. He believed that being a good neighbor and helping others was part of being fair. He said that people are like bees, who need to work together to survive. If people are cruel or ignore others who are struggling, that is bad. But if they show love and care for their neighbors, that is good. Musonius thought that people should work together to protect their city and make it a better place to live. How did Musonius think people should work together to make their city a better place to live? Musonius Rufus doesn't suggest that we should withdraw from society. Instead, he thinks that we should work to protect the whole city and our neighbors from social injustices, not just our own homes. This is an example of Stoic ethics with a focus on society, which values the importance of brotherhood and taking care of others. In his lectures, Musonius Rufus talks a lot about the moral principles of Stoic virtue ethics and uses them to argue for and encourage social changes. Did Musonius Rufus believe in universal human dignity more than Paul did in Christianity? Musonius Rufus didn't say that slavery was bad, just like Paul didn't say it was bad. But Musonius did believe that everyone has the potential to be good and kind. He thought that everyone has a natural desire to be good and do the right thing, and that everyone can be brave and fair. It's hard to argue that Musonius Rufus didn't believe in universal human dignity based on his Stoic philosophy. Paul also had a similar idea in Galatians chapter 3 verse 28, where he suggests that being part of the Christian community dissolves differences between people. However, this idea is limited to those in the Christian community, while Musonius Rufus believed that all humans, not just those in a certain community, have certain qualities that demand an ethical response. He believed in treating all people fairly and equally, including slaves and women. But how did Christianity and Stoicism differ in their approaches to social ethics, and what impact did this have on Western ethical thought? Just like Hierocles does in his ethics, Musonius Rufus believed in a moral system that can be used by everyone, not just a specific religious group or political party. He thought that all human beings have a natural sense of dignity and the ability to be good, which later inspired movements for freedom and equal rights. Stoicism, the philosophy he followed, was a pioneer in recognizing the value and worth of every person, regardless of their religion. While Christianity also teaches this, it only applies within the Christian community. According to Musonius, every person, no matter their beliefs, has dignity and the potential to be virtuous. Musonius gave public talks about how Stoic virtue ethics applied to different social situations. Although Roman society did not fully embrace Stoic ethics or their social implications, Christianity was not the only belief system to advocate for universal human dignity. Given enough time, Stoic ethics could have resulted in a legal and philosophical framework for human rights. However, Harper is correct in noting that the Roman Stoics focused too much on individual self-control and did not always consider the importance of institutions in protecting our freedoms. Nonetheless, they still believed in justice and respect for humanity. Martha Nussbaum has said that the earlier Greek Stoa was very focused on making sure justice was present in institutions. Even in Rome, the Stoics were influential in how politics was done. Harper's critique of Stoicism only focuses on the personal side of philosophy and ignores the wider ethical context. The Stoics were also interested in commenting on and criticizing the society around them. So can Stoicism be considered a viable alternative to the monotheisms of the late antiquity? And what are its key strengths as an ethical system? On one hand, Stoicism could create ethical societies, but we shouldn't ignore the historical importance of Christianity in Western ethical thought. While my proposed history in my Quillette article is speculative, Stoicism offers an ancient but still relevant ethical option to Christianity and Islam. It's a system that can be critiqued and changed, and it offers a complete and kind moral system that doesn't need agreement on other religious beliefs to work. Modern philosophers like Lawrence Becker and Massimo Pigliucci have revisited and adapted Stoicism. They believe that Stoicism can help people cope with the stresses and uncertainties of life. By adopting Stoicism, people in the West can rediscover and benefit from their ancient heritage, which has been mostly forgotten and unexplored until recently. In conclusion, the ancient philosophy of Stoicism has much to offer us in our modern lives. From promoting personal virtue to advocating for social justice, Stoicism provides a framework for navigating the complexities of the world with wisdom and resilience. So why not give it a try? Whether you're looking to find inner peace or make a positive impact on society, the principles of Stoicism can help guide you towards a more fulfilling life. So take the first step and start exploring the world of Stoicism today.